Well, hey, friends, and welcome to another episode of Fort Wayne Footy. I think we need to have a conversation with the Gold Cup Planning Committee and the timing of their matches, because it is run into the start of our podcast the last 2 weeks. And if you are watching the game, 7 of you are watching here live currently. I know probably many more will join after this game. There's 3 minutes left in extra time. The U.S. is down 2-1 to Mexico. And that's not the game we're here to talk about, though, tonight, guys. We're talking Fort Wayne FC, 1927 SC, all things Fort Wayne soccer tonight. My name's Brian. I'm the host of the show. I'm here with my friends, as always. We'll start with you, Autumn DeMott. Welcome to another episode. How you doing?
Thanks. I'm good, Brian. Good deal.
Yeah, you're it sounds a little tired, maybe coming home from a long weekend out of town.
I was back home in Michigan. I had a wedding for the 4th of July, so that was fun.
All right. Fireworks and all, too?
Yep.
All right. Well, welcome back to Fort Wayne. Glad you're here
Thanks.
tonight. Micah, how you doing?
I'm good. Made it home safely. So I have to apologize. Last week it made it sound like I was kidnapped or something like that, but I just had a cabin. It was a nice, relaxing week. So got home on the 4th of July, had a couple days off and ready to get back into it.
I mean, the door was open there, Micah, to talk about this incredible escape that you made from the cabin in the woods that you were kidnapped to. But you just, you showed all your cards, on vacation with the fam. Did you discover where you were? Do you know where you finally ended up?
Yeah, it was just south of Indy in Martinsville, Indiana.
Okay.
There's a lot of state parks in the area, did some hiking. The Airbnb that we had a really nice pond. So kids enjoyed it. I was with my in-laws as well. Everyone had a really good time. So just happy to get away for a little bit.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you had a good time. And Dustin, how you doing, man? Welcome back to the show. Do you have a big weekend?
I'm good. Yeah, it was a good weekend. We were at the lake all weekend, so beautiful weather. But was a little bit more excited to maybe this game be over before we started the podcast for 2 weeks in a row. Is a little much, Brian. It's a little much.
It is a little much, but I appreciate you and all your commitment to the podcast and not watching the game like I'm doing out of the corner of my eye with the volume off. Can't stand if this game goes to penalties. So we're just gonna keep rolling. We do, before we get too far, we want to thank our sponsors here of the show. FW22, they're a 501c3 nonprofit organized to facilitate community involvement in the support and assistance of veterans suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder and traumatic brain injury, and simultaneously educating on suicide prevention and mental illness. Thanks, FW22, for your support of veterans and your support of the soccer community here in Fort Wayne through your sponsorship of Fort Wayne Footy. And we mentioned last week, we also have a new sponsor, OmniSource, here in Fort Wayne. OmniSource is, if you are unaware, they are one of the North America's largest processors, distributors, and managers of scrap and secondary metals. I think they're a subsidiary now of the Steel Dynamics here in town. And so grateful for your sponsorship for this year here on Fort Wayne Footy. Hey, Fort Wayne FC had a game this last weekend, and we want to talk a little bit about it. We watched some replays, watched highlights, listened to commentators. Many of us were unable to be there, out of town, plans with family and all of that. But it was a friendly with Lansing City FC. Fort Wayne FC came out on top 5-0. Like, this was a fun match, like even just to watch the highlights and watch some of the replays. This was a fun match to watch. Micah, I know you pore over these games as you watch them and you think through it from the lens of a coach a lot of times. And so a lot of what you bring, I know, is from a coach perspective. What did you see in this game, Fort Wayne versus Lansing City?
Yeah, I don't think Lansing City was really in the game. From a defensive pressure standpoint, they really didn't offer anything until Fort Wayne got into the final third. You're talking 35 yards from goal. Then they started pressing a little bit. I kind of had the feeling that they were just trying to get through that match. It sounded like they had a tough run of games where they had 3 games in 6 days or something like that. Looks like they had a limited roster. The interesting thing was that their head coach was their starting center back. But I think at the same time, I think that's a really good indicator of the level of soccer that we have and the professional environment that Fort Wayne has been able to create, where that might be common across USL, but as a fact, like that is not the standard that we have here in Fort Wayne. So,
well, we're going to bring on, we got Tiago Dias coming on in a little bit and Justin Cohn coming on. Some of you saw the promos of that. Maybe we ask them when we may see Coach Avery out on the field with them. And if he still got it in him. We'll talk a little bit about that later. But yeah, it was interesting to see, Coach out on the field. As a center back, that's probably the best position for him as a head coach. You can see everything and talk about that, right? So Lansing City comes in, they are winless on the season. I think they're one of just a few teams in USL 2 that are winless. I think they've scored 6 goals in 9 matches. And Fort Wayne FC's had a pretty high-powered offense this year, pretty stout defense and pretty high-powered offense. So no surprise there. Here's what I do love about the outcome of this match, though, is when they did what they're supposed to do. Right. A lot of times you come into games like this and they're little trap games or whatever, and you don't perform to your standard, and it ends up being a closer match than it should be. Fort Wayne did what they needed to do and did what they were expected to do. So I always enjoy when a team can do that. Dustin, any thoughts as you watch the match?
Yeah, again, I echo what Micah said. I watched the replay and I felt like we controlled the match the entire game. Stats wise, we were looking up. We had 12 shots on goal. They had 2. We dominated possession. We were making passes across the field. It was really awesome to watch. So I personally loved that it was Gerber's was his first game playing for Fort Wayne FC and got a goal. Was fun to watch that. So I just felt like when you are going into your last 2 games of conference play and you have a potential to make playoffs, be at the top of your division, to have 2 games where you come out on top that are friendlies, but still good morale boosters, especially the international game. I just hopefully that's a good push to the next 2 games for league.
Yeah, and their standards never dropped.
No.
You still saw them running to doing the defensive work, so doing the details. Speed of approach was really quick, and they were able to shut them down. So I think that's a testament to Coach Avery as well, where regardless of the level of opponent, you have to maintain your standard. You have to play quality regardless of who you're playing.
Yeah, Christina's in the chat saying hate it for Lansing, but love a little confidence boost for an insanely important week of games for Fort Wayne FC. No doubt. We'll get into that here in just a moment. I did hear an interview with Coach Avery after the game, post-match interview, and he was asked if the team feels like they have their swagger back. I don't know if you guys saw this or not, and I love it. He said, I never felt like we lost it. That's just the way some games go. Like, he seems to be such a steady, even, let's get the job done and let's fix the problems that we see kind of coach. We'll get maybe some more perspective on that here in just a few moments when we bring Tiago on. But I did love that attitude. I love the attitude of the players when they go out there. It seems like everybody has fun. That the games we've been to, they have fun no matter who they're playing. They go out, they give their heart and soul for the team, and just love what they do. A couple things that as I was watching, right, the 5 goals, 2 of them were Diarra in the first half. Both goals were low balls across the box and touches past the keeper. How many times have we seen Fort Wayne score goals like that? Get down, Bob run down the right side with the ball across early in the season. We saw a lot of those. And then set pieces, right? So we had a corner kick. That's how Gerber scored his goal, his debut goal, first time out on the field for Fort Wayne FC. He scores on a header, coming across on a corner kick. Darragon scores his on a set piece from the right side of the field, played long to the left far post. He settles and puts it in. So this team is good. We've talked about it, early on in the season. They seemed really good in most phases of the game, tight spaces, set pieces, long balls, long passes through the middle. testament to, again, the coach and the training that they do. It's been really fun to watch. They've got a good product out on the field. We want to bring Tiago Dias in here in just a moment. Speaking of set pieces, he scored a couple of those this season as well. So let's I'll stop talking and we'll just bring him on here. Tiago, how you doing tonight, man?
Good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing well. Great to have you. I know we talked a few weeks ago about the possibility of you coming on here, and your family was in town from Portugal. How was the visit with your family, first of all?
Very good. They actually love Fort Wayne. I showed them Chicago as well. They loved it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
You sound surprised that they actually loved Fort Wayne.
No, they actually liked Fort Wayne a lot.
Yeah.
They did.
That's good.
So it's peaceful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we're excited to have you on the show tonight. We've got some questions we'll run through. We've got some fans in the chat that know you're going to be on here. And so, Raul, number one there, Tiago, in the comments. So Dustin, I'll toss it to you, man.
Yeah, so just to kind of start it off, I've asked most of the guys that have come on, most of the players that have come on the podcast, just one question, but talk a little bit about how you grew up playing soccer, club soccer, how you ended up in Fort Wayne, that process.
So I started playing soccer when I was 4 years old. My dad used to play, not professional, but almost at the professional level. And I played all my academy in Portimonense, is a club in my city. Right now it's playing second division. When I got my under 19, I decided to come to America. I first came to a JUCO in Kansas, did 2 years there, transferred to University at Albany, NCAA, and 2 years there. And this past year I came to Indiana Tech, did my master in there, and when I came to Fort Wayne was 2022, and I've been here for the last 3 years. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So 3 years with the club. You as center back captain. You've won the league title the last 2 seasons, and you're going for it again in the next 2 games here. What is it like being here? You've been kind of a steady player on this roster that has a lot of turnover, a lot of guys in and out, college players coming in and moving on to other things or transferring or whatever. You've been kind of the steady guy in that back line there, one of the steady guys there in that back line. What is it like? How do you manage a team as a player and as a captain that has so many rotating pieces?
Well, I feel just like every player that comes to Fort Wayne has the quality. Like a lot of them didn't come back to go pro. A lot of them didn't come back because they didn't play a lot. Like everyone has their reason, you know. But the consistency is always here. Everyone that comes here has consistent, has the quality to play, and I think that's one of the main things.
Yeah, and so it sounds like you played in a variety of settings as well, from your home country in Portugal to Kansas to here in Fort Wayne and Albany and all of that. How does Fort Wayne FC compare to, I know it's different levels and whatever in college and things that you've played against, but how does the team compare to what you've played, in the sense of professionalism and, the guys going out and just giving their all every day in training, like the attitude and all of that?
I feel that Fort Wayne is like very, very professional what we do. And is most probably one of the most professional clubs I've been in. And like, it's great because you actually feel, even if you're not professional, like you feel that you are making every day the choices and to be professional, and Fort Wayne helps with that. But comparing it with the other places, like it's hard to say just because like college level, sometimes you have that players that can play or cannot play, you know what I mean? And here you just have the players that are going to play. Everyone that is here has the quality to play.
Yeah. Who's a guy on the team? I'm just throwing questions out, guys, if you're looking at the rundown here. Who's a guy on the team that really you maybe look up to, really admire for their leadership or their drive or their experience?
Rude.
Yeah?
Rude. Yeah.
Why is that?
I feel Rude brings the energy to the team. Always comes, even if has a bad day, comes smiling. Always positive energy, and it's something that like I admire a lot because I try to do the same. So I feel what he brings to the team is like very, very good.
Yeah, I love that.
Mhm.
Now, specifically as a center back, right? Like you heard me mention maybe pre-show, as a goalkeeper. Like again, never played at the level that you're playing at. I did play a year in college. Autumn played all 4 years in college as a goalkeeper, but we love our center backs. Like we love the people playing right in front of us because they prevent a lot of things coming our way. You're a tough defender. You and Reed back there in the center. We love watching you guys, but
Mhm.
you have to be. I think it's I would say this for fans just watching, right, the game, I would think that it's an underrated position. Meaning like you've just got to stop the ball when it comes to you, right? But the center back, you've got to be a smart player. You've got to be physical. You've got to be tough. You've got to distribute the ball well, and you have to be good in the air. There's a lot to being a center back. So I respect that, right? What would you say is the best part of your game as a center back?
The best part of my game, I think, aerial duel.
Mm.
For me, it's like very hard to lose one, and I feel me breaking lines as well. I love to do that, and I think it's one of the main things. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we've talked about on the show is the long line breaking passes that you and Reed both make out of the back. That just flips a game, right? It flips the numbers and it flips, it just flips the field, right? You get more guys going forward now when you can beat half the team with one ball through the middle. So been fun to watch there. I love that you say it's hard for you to lose a ball in the air. Hard to lose an aerial duel. You win a lot of them, and
No, I do.
Love that confidence.
love having you
Absolutely.
back there.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right, I have a question, Tiago. What is your pregame ritual? What do you do before every match?
Before I get to the stadium, like the whole day.
Yeah, like the whole day.
So the pre-game routine is basically sleep as most as I can. Always.
Mhm.
Have that sleep is like very, very important. Eat good always, not just in game day, but every day. Listen to music. I love listening to music before a game, makes me focus. Talking with my family and my girlfriend helps a lot as well. And I always stretch, roll before I go to the stadium, at the stadium. And I always like to ask Tyler for a massage. Yeah, that's the main one.
Yeah, nice.
Do you have like a final song that you listen to? Like it's the last song you listen to before you step out?
Not the final song, but type of music, yes. I like to listen to Brazilian music before a game. I don't know, just like the beat makes me being there motivated,
Love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
What's I know you guys are coming off of two friendly wins, right, against Atlas FC and then Lansing City. Got a lot of momentum going into the last half of the season, but you got some work to do, right? Coming off of 2 league losses, with the momentum going in. What's the team's mentality right now going into this last week of the season before playoffs?
That his mentality is the same as always been. Every team has ups and downs, and we had our down the last 2 games for the season, and these 2 friendlies was good for motivation as well. But the team mentality is still the same. Like we want to win, not just the conference, but we want to win everything, and that's where we came for.
Yeah. How much does we've talked to Coach Avery on the show earlier this season. We talked to him after matches. I've heard his post game, comments and things. What is his demeanor in practice? Like he seems to be pretty steady and even keel, but motivated to win and wants to drive players. What is Coach Avery like in a training session? Is he pretty intense or is he pretty low key and just driving you guys?
No, he's always driving us like low key, like always calm. Of course, if he needs to interview and be a bit more extra, he will, of course. Like every coach needs to be
Every
like
coach,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
But like always low key, calm, always motivating us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I want to throw a question up here, Dustin, before you get to yours here, from Christina. She asks if you and Reed have a secret handshake, a pregame ritual, just
Nah,
because of your
not handshake,
partnership
not
back
handshake.
there.
A simple one, just like that me up.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's
Awesome.
funny because I was thinking the same thing, because you and Reed are pretty consistent back there. So I wondered if there was anything, or like any cool stories between the two of you that like off the pitch that helps you guys' cohesion, or no?
Nah, not really. Like
No.
now that I can think, no.
Yeah.
No.
No, it's fun to watch you guys back there. But so my question is, like, younger kids. So each of us have coached younger players. What kind of words of advice do you have for younger players that are, striving to get to that next level, that want to get to, whether it's USL 2, they want to play in MLS, they want to play in, the European leagues. What would be your word of advice to those kids?
Just keep the motivation, keep doing the right things. Always be focused what you want to do. I know a lot of kids when go to college lose a bit of motivation, because in college is a lot of distractions, and I think that's a factor key. But even in lower ages, motivating always, like extra work on and off the field. I think that's a really big key.
Yeah, that's good.
We had a couple questions come in. I just want to throw up before we get you out. And one, I'm guessing this is someone you may know. Who your best center back pairing partner was ever?
Ever. He's asking that, you know why? Because he played with me.
I figured he did. I figured he did.
Right.
He's baiting you a little bit.
Yeah.
Raul there in the chat for sure. I won't make you answer that.
I can't answer that.
Yeah. The other one here from Sarah in the chat, favorite Fort Wayne FC memory, whether it was a game or not, just something with the guys.
Memory. Big memory. I think like both years when we won conference. I think that's a big memory. Another one that I can say, a memory, the first round of playoffs last year, when we went to penalties, I was the one missing it, and I was afraid what was going to happen. And the memory was like already saving both penalties, and I promise I was crying. I was crying, and I think that's a big memory. Make us go to the second round. Unfortunately, we lost, but still a good memory.
Yeah.
So what is your ultimate goal, career goal? If you could do anything, what is something that you'd want to do?
Most probably like a bicycle kick.
Okay.
That will be like amazing goal. Most probably the best in my life.
Yeah.
What level are you playing at with that bicycle kick? Are you a pro at this point? Are you playing somewhere in Europe, in the United States? Where are you thinking?
Doesn't matter, to be honest. If I score that goal,
for what?
We'll be crazy. A center back scoring a bicycle kick.
All right. So listen, you got 2 matches left this season. Saturday would be fantastic to do that in front of the home crowd. If you can get Nishimura to put that ball up off a corner for you, we're cheering for that bicycle kick. All right. I want to see that.
I'll try.
That preferably
don't go out of your way. Use your head if you need
I'll
to.
go for the header Saturday just to be sure. But
okay.
Yeah. If Coach Avery comes after us, or comes after you, I apologize. Anyway, well, Tiago, thanks for joining us tonight. This has been a lot of fun having you on. Best of luck this Wednesday at Dayton, and then back home Saturday against Cincinnati Kingshammer FC. So thanks for joining us, man. Look forward to the last couple games.
Yes, sir. Thank you. You guys have a good night.
All right.
You too.
All right. Hey, that was fun. He seems to love what he does. Love the team and just all of that. So good interview with Tiago. We do want to bring on, we've been promoting here on social media. We've got Justin Cohn, the communications director from Fort Wayne FC, is backstage. We'll bring him on here in just a moment, and to talk a little bit about what they're doing behind the scenes and the ticket sales that they've got coming up here. So if you've got questions for Justin, go ahead and throw those in the chat, and we'll just keep on rolling. Let's bring him on here. There we go. Let me get this situated. Justin, welcome to Fort Wayne Footy, man.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
For sure. You sound like a pro podcaster there. And you have some experience in this, don't you?
I have a little bit of experience. Yeah, I had a couple of podcasts in a former life. Yes. So
yeah,
you still see my old Detroit sports background up there from that.
Oh, man. Okay, so we were just talking before the show. I don't know if you were on yet or not. Football is a little different story, but when we go to Michigan, when we go to Detroit specifically to play soccer, I am not a fan, man. I'm not a fan of those teams, the Detroit teams.
Oh, okay. Well, you can. I thought you were saying you're not a fan of Detroit. I don't mind if you hate the teams, because that's just jealousy. But if you start knocking my town, people do that, and they're still like stuck with this vision of Detroit from like 1986, and it's like resurgent city. It's wonderful.
Yeah. See, I've been to Detroit, probably closer to 1986. I had a friend who lived there, and I actually liked it. It was the one street that they like did all the houses and everything up, and it had been a like drug street or whatever.
The
and
one
like
street where they did all the houses.
They like
this is
Like
what
8
I'm
Mile.
talking
He's talking about 8 Mile. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
they did artwork.
Yeah, that's
there was
it.
like
Yeah, I saw
bicycles
the movie 8 Mile. I know everything about Detroit. Like I hear that a lot.
I thought it was a famous street. I don't know. Maybe they were pulling my leg. Everything's painted up and graffitied and bikes hanging from places. And anyway,
Look, I could sum up Detroit and just tell you that there's a resurgent downtown. All the pro sports teams moved back downtown. All of those things happened for a reason. So if you haven't been there recently, you should go, because it's totally different.
yeah, I'll just avoid playing soccer up there while I'm there. Anyway, Detroit aside, Justin, glad to have you on tonight. You've been with the team now this season. I'm curious, you're not new to sports and sports journalism and podcasting and all that. Curious though, like, how'd you get connected with Fort Wayne FC from what you were doing before to what you're doing now?
Well, how much time do you have? I mean, it really starts with Scott Sproat, the chief operating officer, because he had been with the hockey team in town. And excuse me. So one of the many hats that I wore at the Journal Gazette was I covered hockey. So I got to know Scott very well, and we become friendly over the years, and had always talked about maybe there'd be an opportunity to work together. And obviously he came to Fort Wayne FC well before I did. And, I was one of the people that he brought on board. And, we like to joke that a lot of these hires that we made are sort of an all-star team. I mean, Garrett Martz, our director of corporate partnership, he had been with the Mad Ants basketball team. I knew him very well. Patrick Ventura, who's the director of ticketing, he had been at the Coliseum, so we all knew what he could do, and so we were really excited from the start just to kind of get that crew together. But to answer your question, it really did kind of start with Scott.
Yeah. Micah commented earlier in the show tonight, just the professionalism of the team and the organization and what you guys are doing. And so I know I've mentioned this before. I've got to stop talking about this, but as a Cincinnati soccer fan, the organization that they put together, their front office, did something similar, right? They pulled guys from the Bengals and some other local teams to put this team together to really get something off the ground. And so that's my experience there, with a front office that's really pushing to get something going. And so I've respected and admired what you guys have done there this season at Fort Wayne FC with the move that you're looking to make, or you are making, in USL 1, getting the right people in the right positions in the organization to really go. So that's been fun to watch and see from a distance. So you've covered hockey, you've covered golf, you've covered football. Tell us a little bit about your journalism background before we get too much into your soccer background here.
Yeah, and I do have some soccer stories. So, but yeah, I worked for the newspaper for 28 years. I went to college in Atlanta at Emory, and I had always had some journalism, even in high school and then throughout college. I was on the newspaper there, and even after college, I still wasn't sure exactly what I was going to do. And Long story short, I had a pretty prestigious fellowship, and then kind of went on some job interviews. It still wasn't really looking at sports even at that point. And then it got recommended to me, hey, you should look at sports. You're obviously, a former athlete and some other things. And so I just kind of landed here. I had a job interview for something else here. And while I was in town, the hockey writer got hired by the New York Post. And so I was like, oh, you want me to be your hockey writer? Because that was a sport I had grown up watching. My family's had Red Wings season tickets for 60 plus years. And so I kind of talked him into it. So that was one of the main things I did here. I covered the NFL for about 12 years. So the whole Peyton Manning era, I did 4 Super Bowls and really had kind of a national presence there. And then golf, which was a sport I played at the high level. Golf is huge here. So that was a big part of what I did as well. So I wore a lot of different hats. And it's funny, Tiago was mentioning Indiana Tech, and I teach there. And one of the things I teach is what I do now. So it's sort of funny. I was teaching it before I was actually doing it. But there are a lot of Indiana Tech connections with Fort Wayne FC too. And Tiago is obviously one of them. So that's kind of the abridged background of my journalism career. And, I won't go into all the awards, but there were a lot of them.
So obviously being new to the club, generally new to the sport of soccer, like what is the most unexpected and exciting thing that you've seen or experienced so far this year? Well,
so it's, just not to go off on a tangent, it's kind of a return home for me. Like I did play the sport and I was pretty good growing up. But when I got to high school, I had to make a choice because soccer and golf were the same season in Michigan. So I went golf. I don't know if that was the right choice or not. But my father was a all-city keeper in Philadelphia, and he played for Penn. My brother was teammates with Alexi Lalas in high school. So I have these vague memories of Lawless being this great freshman on the pitch when my brother was starting the opposite side of him as a senior. And then my brother played at Tufts. So I was around the sport growing up, and certainly my family always talking about it. And I covered soccer some through the years. In 97, I covered the women's Olympic team. I'm sorry, 96. So I got the Mia Hamm era and everything there. So it is kind of a return home for me. But the sport has definitely changed a lot through the years, and there's a lot of things that I'm learning. So to answer your question, what's the most surprising thing, I guess? I've been telling the story a lot. Like, everyone is so nice and polite, like the players, the coaches. I mean, yesterday I am at midfield and the players are walking in, and every single one of them walks all the way from the parking lot, all the way to the 50-yard line, just to come shake my hand and say hello, and then beeline back to the locker room. And it's not just me, because I'm not that important. They do it with everybody. So everybody's just so nice, like the players. And it did sort of take me aback at the start, because not to say athletes in football and hockey aren't nice, but I wouldn't say they all go out of their way to make a second to just say hello, you're important, and I want you to know that. And then the other thing I noticed is just the walk-ins. The walk-ins are a big deal in soccer. And so now I'm making sure that our photographers get my walk-ins as well.
Yeah, I've seen some of those photos. That's been fun. Those posted on social media. The other thing I was going to say is ice is slippery, man. They're not going to come out to the, center ice without their skates to shake your hand. Like, it's different on a soccer field.
Yeah, I mean, I had a great relationship with all the hockey players. Like, I mean, I knew them intimately well, but it was like, I don't ever remember them like skating over when I was on the bench to say hello. I mean, everything was like through text messages and phone calls. And, I'll admit, I'm the type of guy that walks around with hand sanitizer all the time. So I had to like double up, because every single person in the organization is shaking my hand like every time I see them. But it's great. I mean, it's really, I feel like I know every one of these players on some level, even if I'm not around them all that often.
Yeah. Autumn, he brought up the name Mia Hamm. Do you even remember Mia Hamm? Is that like Dating
that
us,
I was like-
dating you.
I was like,
Is that even a question for me?
Good. That's what I like to hear.
Oh my goodness. No, yeah, I grew up watching Mia Hamm, loved her, still love her to this day. She's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll tell you, I mean, covering that gold medal game in '96, and I believe it was in Athens, and I mean, it was just such a huge crowd, and it was, I was covering a bunch of Olympic sports, but to go from covering like, I would cover wrestling one day, or table tennis or something, and then you would go, drive to go cover that, and just to see the atmosphere. And I definitely look back as somebody who has now raised a daughter who played sports for a while, and just to see the impact that games like that had on girls at that time. And I was very just excited that all these opportunities had been opened up by the time I had a daughter who was going to be an athlete, because those things were not there when I was in high school, because I'm old. So I definitely look back fondly at being able to cover that team, even for a short time.
yeah.
Well, Justin, we wanted to shift a little bit our conversation from sports journalism and everything to the team, Fort Wayne FC, and your role and what you're doing there as communications director. But we started seeing posts about season ticket sales for next season, deposits, opening up July 14th. What can you tell us about the campaign that you guys are starting there with season ticket holders?
Yeah, so on Thursday, we let it be known that on July 14th at 10 a.m., we will begin taking deposits on 2026 season tickets. Obviously, that will be at our new stadium that they're building at Bass Road and I-69, which is Fort Wayne FC Park. So it's important information to know that now is your chance to start getting your place in line for next season in what we think is just going to be an amazing venue. It's going to be the largest outdoor stadium in Northeast Indiana. And one of the things that, if you were a season ticket holder this year, that was one of your perks, that you would be first in line when we got to this point. And so we're continuing to emphasize to all those season ticket holders that even though on July 14th, everybody can start placing deposits, we have your name. We have tracked all the season ticket holders. We have all the information. Don't worry, you are still first in line because you were with us, and we're thankful that you were with us this year. So, but we really encourage everybody to go to our website, fortwaynefc.com. If you go to the top, there is a pull down for season ticket deposit information, and there's FAQs there that should answer all your questions about the process and what it means and why you should get your deposits in sooner than later. And we don't have all the information as to when you're going to be picking your seats and things like that, but rest assured you're gonna know it soon. So we encourage people to make their deposits $25 per seat, and as I said, you can start that on July 14th, and there's going to be a few places that you can actually make that deposit, but the easiest thing to just get out there is just go to fortwaynefc.com, and there will be a button starting on July 14th where you can make the payments.
Is there are season tickets limited and what you guys are planning selling, or is it as many as want, up to the full 8,000 people in the stadium? What's the thought there?
Well, I mean, we don't have a cap on it. The only caveat is, because we will get this question, is can I, as an individual, go in and put a deposit on, say, 50 seats? And the answer is, if you're going to be wanting to put deposits on more than 8 seats, you need to call us. But right now, there's no cap on, we're only taking deposits on X number of seats. I mean, the venue is going to be 9,200 seats. So if you're telling me we're going to get up there, I think that's a good problem to have. Yeah. But right now, no, there's no cap on it.
Love it. Love it. So get your deposits in. I mean, I'm looking forward to that day, right? We as a team, as a podcast team, are certainly looking at some options there for sure. So,
yeah, and I would just, not to interrupt, but I would just stress, Mark Music, who is the majority owner of the club. I mean, he is putting a lot of work into making sure that this is going to be state of the art. I mean, he is very invested in everything from 14 field level boxes to, I mean, you can go to our website and see some of the renders. And, as the coming weeks and months go on, obviously we will unveil more, but he is passionate about making sure that this is a premier venue. And, I have to stress this just so people continue to understand, this is 100% privately funded. There's not one penny coming out of taxes or public money or anything like that. So that means that he can create something really special, and it doesn't cause any problems in the public sphere in terms of costing any of you any money.
Yeah.
Christina says, if you get 9,200 people, season ticket holders, you can call Fort Wayne a soccer town. I think you can call Fort Wayne a soccer town as it is. This is why we're doing what we're doing here. You know that, Christina, and everybody listening. That's why we're doing this. We want to fill that stadium next year. I think, man, on opening day, what a fantastic option and opportunity to get 9,200 people or however many seats are going to be in that stadium and fill the place up. We had a couple questions come in the chat here, and again, we don't know details of what's happening with the construction and all that. One of our listeners, Jordan, says is just asking about the possibility of doing something like a signing of one of the beams that's going up in the structure. Has there been any talk of fan involvement and doing anything like that as the stadium goes up?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing's been finalized, but I can tell you that conversation has been had. What can we do, especially for the people who, are, I'm just going to throw out this term, like, part of a founders club or something like that. So there's nothing set in stone right now, but yes, conversations about what we can do for supporters or people who get in very early, those have been had within the club.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Another question that came in, and then I'll throw it to you guys to ask. We got some more in the rundown here. A banner rising game for USL 2 division titles. I know it's it feels like, if I'm understanding correctly, it's almost like one organization dissolves and a new organization starts as you move from the USL 2 to USL 1. I don't know all the details of that. Maybe that's not the case, but the question of a banner rising to recognize the division titles from previous years.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. I can't tell you that we've had that conversation. I know that we'd love as an organization to go out as USL League 2 champions, and that is certainly something that we would embrace. I can tell you that as an organization, we are very much passionate about recognizing the past, and we are very indebted and appreciative of the people that worked with this franchise from the very beginning, whether it was Dr. Magner or anybody from the beginning to now. Like, we talk about them with reverence about how they helped build the club. I mean, it's not just Scott Sprode and DeMarcus Beasley and Mark Music. We understand there were a lot of people that preceded, the people that are working with the organization now, and we continue to recognize the people who helped get us there. And it's not just the people behind the scenes, the players. I mean, every week, I prepare a media guide and it's got, a number of feats that have happened throughout the history of the organization and records and things like that. So I don't think that once we go to USL League 1, we're just going to turn the page and be like, oh, we're starting fresh and we're going to forget about the past. That's not what we're about. And we're trying to build something, and we understand that foundation doesn't begin in 2026. It began years ago.
Yeah. So, and I know you don't have all the specifics in relationship to what the stadium is going to look like or anything like that, but is there a specific supporters section that will be there that will be, I think like people have dreamed about what they would love for it to look like, but will there be a designated section for that, or how's that looking?
Yes. And in fact, if you go to the FAQs, that question is actually answered in some way, shape, or form. Like, we don't know 100% what it's going to look like, or if we do, I'm not in on that conversation, but we will have a supporter section. And one of the things that you should bear in mind as we go through the ticketing process is you're probably going to want to have conversations with our staff, because some people will want to be sitting in those areas,
Yeah.
but we recognize some people will not.
Right.
So we're definitely going to want to work with you to make sure that you get the best seating experience, because like one of the things with the supporter section, just, obviously they're standing the whole time. Right.
Yeah.
So that may not be for you, and you want to understand that going in. So we'll continue to unveil that information, as the process develops and as we get to the fall and we get closer to the seating assignments and things like that. But yes, there will be a place for the supporters.
That's awesome.
Love it. So Justin, there's a lot going on, I'm sure, behind the scenes, more than we know, more than we need to know. But as a fan coming to a game next season, beyond the fact that there's a new stadium, new field, can you venture a guess at maybe what the fan experience could be like, or what will fans notice differently about the team next year than maybe we've come to be used to in the most recent seasons?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's some things that I know that are going to be big surprises, and I think welcome surprises. But when it comes to the fan experience, look, I know they want to have a first-class experience. I know they want the seating to be comfortable. They want you to have great sight lines. We're excited about the area of town that we're going into at Bass Road and I-69. As you mentioned, supporters section. And we want to have a great team. Like they're already thinking ahead and building towards next season. I mean, it's no secret that part of the roster construction this year was to take a look at guys and see if they might translate to the professional level. So I think we're thinking about next season on a number of different levels. I don't know if that totally answers your question. But in terms of the fan experience, I mean, I'm not in on all of those conversations, but I know they're putting together a first-class stadium. And not to mention other stadiums, but, we know what Parkview Field meant for downtown. And it wasn't just that there was a baseball team. It was a great fan experience. And I don't think it's a stretch to think we're trying to replicate some of that in a different world, the soccer world here. But, again, I mean, a soccer-specific stadium that's going to be the largest outdoor venue. I mean, that should tell you a lot of what you need to know.
Yeah. I'm excited about this, man. I saw the renderings on the website when you guys started posting the season ticket holder information. Really excited. It does not look like there could possibly be a bad seat in that stadium. Looking forward to seeing what that could look like, what that could be, and actually being there in the atmosphere, that environment, the supporter section that's going to come, bring the, the chants and the drums and all of that just builds the culture and builds the atmosphere there at a game next season in a bigger stadium. So my encouragement, our encouragement to anybody that's out there listening, get out there if you're considering being a season ticket holder, thinking about going to games next year. Get in on the ground floor now. Help build what could be here in Fort Wayne. This could be, Christina says it, this could be a soccer town. This is a soccer town. And let's show the world that we are. And what we can be. So, Justin, appreciate you coming on the show tonight, talking a little bit about that, and more than that, even just really appreciate your partnership in just what we're doing here with Fort Wayne Footy and how we can be supportive of the team there at Fort Wayne FC. Any final words for listeners, viewers, anybody watching?
Well, I just want to thank you guys for what you're doing. I mean, it really does align with what we're trying to do, which is really unite the soccer world in Northeast Indiana. I mean, DeMarcus Beasley's talked about it a lot. Like we don't want to just be a club that's, siloed on its own. Like we want to be unified. One of the first things I did was attend a town hall that we had with all of the soccer organizations in town. And, DeMarcus talked about everything from, academies and, helping to bring up young players. We had Johnny I play for us last week. So, we appreciate what you're doing. I think it aligns with what we're doing. And then the last thing I would say is there's one more home match next Saturday. When you think about it, it's the last match that we will have at Bishop Darcy Stadium. So when you think about that and all the great moments we've had since we've been playing there, I think there's a really good opportunity to get a really good fan experience and have some fun. And that match, no matter how you cut it, I think mathematically it's going to be very meaningful. So I think that's a great opportunity to get your tickets, go to our website and check that one out.
Yeah, no doubt. I think 2 matches left, and that's the last one at home. They play at Dayton on Wednesday night, and we need 4 points to take the league lead to ensure the league lead. And so it's going to come down to that last game, depending on what what Lexington does in their final match. We got 2 ahead of us and got time to make up those points. So looking forward to that. We'll be there as a team, as a podcast team, that final match, cheering on the team out on the pitch. Justin, we'll see you there. And again, thanks for joining us. Thanks for what you're doing.
All right. Anytime. Appreciate it.
All right. Have a great night.
You too.
All right. That's a lot of insight there in the team and what's going on and what we can look forward to next season. So appreciate both Tiago and Justin jumping on this tonight with us, this episode. So guys and girls, there's a lot of soccer, right? We talk about this every week. Fort Wayne FC, 1927, they wrapped up their home stand this last yesterday against Goshen City. Unfortunately, it's a 2-1 loss there. They've got one more game up in Holland, Michigan, against Tulip City FC. Tulip City United, I believe, is the actual name, up there in Holland, Michigan, next week. And we talked about last week, we just dropped this idea, right, of a supporters group for 1927. Like, how cool would that be that we could have people at both stadiums? Like when Fort Wayne FC is playing in the big stadium, 1927's at Sport Club, and know they have fans, know they have supporters there. One thing, the reason I mentioned that is I don't think we can start that, but we can help network and help create a space for people to get together and talk about that. So we had Shane from Three Rivers Regiment on the show last week, and he mentioned to us post-show, as we were talking, that he'd be happy to talk with anybody that's interested in helping get something started for 1927 SC, to just lend some guidance, some, here's what we did, here's what worked, here's what didn't work, that sort of thing. If you're interested in that, connect with us, connect with Shane, connect with Christina, connect with anybody at Three Rivers Regiment. We'd be happy to help make that connection. We'd love to see that happen. One last thing I'll say, and I've been talking a lot, so I want to pass it to you guys. The Summit City United men's and women's team are having tryouts coming up. I think it's next Saturday at the Classic City Center. If you're unfamiliar with Summit City United, they are men's and women's professional indoor team that just got started this last year. So when things finish up here at Fort Wayne FC and 1927 SC, we're still rolling. We've got other teams to cover. We're rolling into high school and college this season, this fall. There's so much more to cover, and we're excited about what's happening around town. So 2 things: if you're interested in Summit City United tryouts, if you're interested in playing, check out their social media. All the details are there. We shared it in our story earlier today. So if you're not connected with them, you're connected with us. Check that out. And if you're not looking to play, definitely make plans to go watch them. They play up in Auburn at the Classic City Center. Went up, saw a men's and women's match last year when they played. Pretty phenomenal team, what they're doing up there. So check them out. It's getting close to 10, and I'm going to pass it to, who am I passing it to? I'm going to pass it to you, Dustin, for this extra time segment, because we started the show watching Mexico and the United States play. How are we feeling about runners up in the Gold Cup?
Okay, so how are we feeling now, or how are we feeling when we started the Gold Cup about how our chances were of getting to this point? I think that's a definitive, or a difference between the two. I wasn't expecting to be in the championship, to be completely honest, with the team that we put out there. I've been extremely excited and I guess shocked to see some of the guys just step up and play their hearts out. I mean, we've talked about it multiple times, but I mean, between Tillman and Luna, and honestly, and I hate to say it, Berhalter.
I was just going to say Berhalter too.
I know. I hate to say it, but honestly, between the 3 of them to go out there and to just, I mean, you can just tell that they're playing hard and they're playing for their country. Was awesome to see. It gets me excited. I saw something this week about everyone keeps saying, well, how are you gonna make a choice between Pulisic and Luna? And they're like, why are we making choices? Why can't we get both of them on the field at once and see what kind of, chemistry they can make? That's what's exciting to me. I think going into this Gold Cup with the friendlies we had prior to the Gold Cup, I was extremely negative about our chances within the Gold Cup. I was extremely disappointed about our chances into the World Cup next year as we're hosting. I have more I guess optimism of what we could do from what we showed in this Gold Cup. That's where I'm at. Was I sad to lose to Mexico? I mean, yes, we're always sad to lose to Mexico. I mean, it's Mexico. It's our biggest rival. So sad to see that. But if you can lose on a super close set piece like that, 2-1 to a good that's a team. That team's a good team. To lose to them 2-1. I'll take one on the chin, and I'll move on to, we've got bigger fish to fry for next year.
I have friends who are from Mexico fans who would say that is not a good Mexico team. They're as disappointed with their team as we tend to be recently with our team here in the United States. We were all watching the end of that match. Autumn, Micah, any feelings on? I think Dustin makes a good point how we were feeling going into the tournament versus how we ended the tournament. Any thoughts? Follow up on that?
I'm still waiting to see. I guess I need to see what the next couple months look like, what the next friendlies look like. I spoke on it last show, but there's so many uncertainties when we're so close to a World Cup. We're using these competitions to build our depth and identify players. I just feel like we're chasing right now. Obviously, with the coaching change midway through the cycle, it doesn't help. But at the same time, I think some of these players made a strong case from Chris Richards. We haven't even talked about Chris Richards. He is a top 5 player on any team right now, right? He could step in, and I mean, he's a top player in the Premier League, right? Winning trophies and playing 90 minutes game in, game out. So, I mean, he earned a spot. Luna earned a spot. I was impressed with some of these MLS guys. Berhalter's he's a scrapper, right? There's a little bit of that dog in him. Arston, I thought, played really well. I think he ran out of gas towards the end of this match. But no, I think it'll be interesting now that we're getting into the friendlies, how we're going to reincorporate the McKennies, the Weahs, Pulisic even, what his role is going to be. So much uncertainty, but cautiously optimistic. We still need to get results, right? Losing 4-0 to Turkey isn't good enough. Losing 2-1 to Mexico isn't good enough. I remember when Dos a 0 was the standard every day, every game. So, yeah, I mean, I'm still going to watch. I'm still going to cry when we lose, but I'm here for it, right? And I think Pochettino's the guy to get us there. So,
Autumn, as you look at this team that they rolled out for the Gold Cup, do you see anybody on this roster that has earned a spot maybe over some of the guys that they're missing right now? The Pulisics, the McKennies, the Weahs, the Serginho Dests, those guys that are away? Or do you think that these are depth pieces that when they come back together, we've got a deeper roster now?
You're putting me on the spot, Brian.
I'm glad I don't have to answer that question.
I know,
You're
man.
next,
I'm already sweating. No, I mean, without really giving it much thought and looking more in depth, I would say that I'm excited to see what they build off of this. I haven't paid too closely. Don't hate me. Don't haters. Don't hate. I haven't paid too much attention into this offseason with the men's team. So I'm excited in the next couple of months to look a little bit deeper and closely on what players are not coming through that should be coming through and shining up. And then what players deserve to stay on the field in the pitch. So yeah, as of now though, from what I do know, I think that they have a good squad, but I think like what Micah and Dustin said, good enough is not good enough. Like you have to build off of that. And I think the players that they do have on the field have potential to do that based on what I've seen and what little I've kind of researched.
Yeah. Dustin, I'm putting you on the spot now. Same question. What do you think?
Over other players? I feel like we had such an inconsistent starting roster for the men's team for the last couple of years that it's hard to know. I will say I saw an article this week about Reyna, and obviously he's been kind of in and out in relationship to the U.S. men's team. He played for Borussia Dortmund and played 12 minutes out of 5 games for the entire Club World Cup. That's not touches. That's not playing time when you're kind of on the bubble. So I would say if I'm looking at where can we plug someone into if he's starting, I think Luna could start over Reyna. And they actually said that, like, that's what the article said. I agree with it. So, I mean, time will tell. We still have a year, until the World Cup. But if I had to choose one, I would say that.
We've seen, Micah, you may have some thoughts on this, and we're wrapping up our time here, but you see Diego Luna and his play style just kind of floats all over the field, looking for space, looking for the ball, tries to create on his own, tries to fight when he gets near the box. He wants to take that shot. He tries to go through a couple guys. I don't know that we've seen a player like him on this team, the U.S. men's national team, that is that number 10 that floats as much as he does. We have a number 10 who's good at what he does. It's a different style of play than what Diego Luna seems to bring. So, Micah, my question for you then is, do you see that could be a good pairing, having a guy that plays not as loose as Luna, but is free floating around the pitch as Luna? Or does he take up space with guys that are just not used to having a guy in their space?
I think Clint Dempsey is a really good example of kind of that free playing, not afraid to do stuff. And Dempsey would say it himself in very not so certain terms, but he just tries stuff, right? Luna's that same type of player. You saw it a little bit today where he would make those runs and then players would drop in and cover his position. And you saw they interchange between several players, not just Luna. So I think that's a style that Pochettino's trying to create and have that level of freedom and that movement where players can find space and try stuff. Because last couple of years, we've been very stagnant in the attack where we relied on Plistic to create something out of nothing. So it creates that movement, a little bit of excitement in it. Tillman's able to do that as well. And as long as the team is recognizing, and that's the style that Pochettino wants to play, it's going to be successful and it's going to work.
Yeah. I know another guy that's trying to make his way into that team by the name of Lucho Acosta. I don't know that he ever will, but he's that free floating number 10 that's been trying to get his citizenship for a couple of years to play on that team. I don't know what Poch thinks of him or what'll happen there, but we'll see. We'll see. It's more of a Diego Luna type player. So it'll be exciting to see what happens there. Hey, we want to wrap up the show. We're running a little bit long tonight. There was a tease that I missed at the very beginning. So for those of you who have stuck around to watch all the way to the end or listen later this week all the way to the end, we have a merch store that's coming really soon. Fort Wayne Footy merch that we're going to be selling. Hats, t-shirts, hoodies, all sorts of things. We're going to get out there. We'll get the information out soon. And this is not something that, I mean, it's something that we've thought of and we wanted to do, but we've actually had questions from people that are listening and people that watch and people that have seen my hat that I had made just as a, like, do I like this? What should we do? People have been asking for stuff. And so we're putting a merch store out real soon. It'll be out hopefully in the next 2 weeks. And we will be the first to tell you here on the show. We'll get stuff out on social media on how you can get whatever you want to get, Fort Wayne Footy branded stuff. So thanks for being loyal watchers, listeners, viewers of the show. We really appreciate you all and what you are doing to, just grow the culture here in Fort Wayne. So many of you from the regiment, Ryan from the team, who's helping us make connections behind the scenes with other podcasters and things. So appreciate all that you guys are doing. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll catch you next week here on Fort Wayne Footy.